We're live.
We're live for the last time
for the last
together.
time together. We ought to start separating our distance as much as possible.
Welcome all. It is Monday night, Generational Change. I'm Jen.
I'm Peter. And yeah, it is kind of a sentimental evening.
It's a little weird that you're not going to be here.
Well, I'm making kind of like a weird trajectory because Wednesday night I'll be in New Jersey. We'll be speaking with James Lee of Breaking Points. And then, of course, I will officially be out of here next weekend. It is a big deal.
I know. My husband and I were talking. We feel really good, like another one's leaving the nest. Like we're so pleased that you're finally leaving the nest. We're so pleased.
Well, I couldn't come on this evening and not.
I'm not sure how you're going to do it, but we'll see. A lot of times they come back.
I know you love these things, so this is a little gift for you.
What is this?
It
what
is
flavor?
a
It looks
pound
like a banana.
cake. It is a banana.
Where did you get this?
Kevin, my business partner,
Very cool.
got some,
Nice,
and
thank
so
you.
Jen gets a little extra something this evening, and we're going to talk about a number of important topics. But in many ways, when you think about why we started this channel, why we're talking about the issues that we're talking about, it was always about transforming politics into service. And I think it's fair to say that Bernie Sanders is the person that kind of brought us together in the first place. And then obviously the congressional campaign that happened down here back in 2016.
Thou shalt not be named.
But the truth of the matter is that Bernie is really what awoken so many of us to the realities. I mean, we always had, the populist progressive streak in general, but there was that great awakening that happened almost a decade ago. And now we come sort of full circle with this. I know we've talked many times about the level of importance somebody like Debbie Wasserman Schultz has in terms of Democratic Party politics.
Yeah.
But who would you say probably has the most effect on Democratic Party politics?
Well, the person who brings in the most money. Who brings in the most money?
That would be Nancy fucking Pelosi.
I would say so. I would say so. That's just something like, again, people, the person with the money is the person who's in charge. That applies to basically every scenario. But yeah, the rainmaker is who's in charge.
Well, let's hope it lasts, because I noticed that the signal was going a little squirmy for a second.
It happens hopefully from time to time.
Well, it does, but it doesn't have to stay that way. And
we can be glitchy.
We can. But tonight, we are very pleased to speak with the speaker. Everyone says that Hakeem Jeffries is going to be the Speaker of the House. And
okay, you said Hakeem Jeffries. He's in my card deck.
Oh, but is the Queen Bee in your card
No,
deck?
because she's not. And that's one of the things, because it's only the leaders right now so it's Hakeem Jeffries, because she's not the person. She's not the minority leader, technically. She handed it over to him because she didn't probably want to be on this card deck. So that's the Four of Hearts, guys. So again, this is the name of the thing is The War Criminals, thewarcriminals.com. Get yourself a deck of playing cards. It supports medical care for Palestinian children in Palestine. And so here we have Hakeem Jeffries, Four of Hearts.
It's good for our channel, Tony.
Yeah,
remember,
it is.
The ads help us grow.
We're pulling out the Four of Hearts to get started. You mentioned we had to mention Hakeem, so there he is.
Well, on this occasion, she's not going to be alone, because I do believe that the Senator from Vermont is going to also make an appearance. But listen, she is making her debut on our channel and going to grace us with her presence. Who knows how many sheets to the wind she is right now? But
it is after happy hour.
It is after happy hour on Pacific Coast time. It is 6 o'clock in the quarter after.
That's happy hour, exactly,
on the West Coast. So she is the former Speaker of the House,
correct?
Former head of the Democratic
Party. So if they were still the party in control, then the Speaker of their House would have been in this deck. That's my point.
Well.
So now
she just lurks in the shadows.
Oh, she lurks.
Nancy Pelosi, welcome to Generational Change.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, both of you. Yes, thank you.
Well, it does seem that you're getting a little long in the tooth, but you still managed to put your makeup on straight, so that's a good start.
Oh, thank you. I try.
Yeah, very nice. What do you want me to do?
A little bit.
What would you like?
No. Other way.
Oh, down?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Right there. And for those of you who have been paying attention to what's going on in politics lately, there is a very big rift within the Democratic Party.
Oh, yes.
That is why we wanted to bring you on this evening. You, of course, are a very big defender of the Democratic Party establishment.
I
Many
am.
of us think that it's time to change. So before we get into the conversation with Senator Sanders, Speaker Pelosi, you have been in Congress almost as long as I've been alive, and you are about to run, or you've declared that you are running for the 20th time. That is quite a feat to want to be on Capitol Hill for 5 decades.
Yes,
So
that.
could you please share with us why you feel the need to continue this into your 80s?
Well, honestly, I still feel healthy for my age at 84. I feel good. I wake up early every morning and take my long walks. I eat good. And you know what? Besides that, I'm addicted to power. I really am. I love being in the Congress. I love being in charge of politics. I just love it. I just love it. What can I say?
Yeah.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
sorry.
the Speaker of the House before you, Mr. Boehner, they used to give him a lot of shit about what a lush he was. And yet I don't really hear too many people giving you too much shit about how much you hit the bottle. Isn't that kind of reverse sexism in a way? How come they don't come after you with as many times as you manage to get a few drinks in before you actually have to sit on the throne and make very important legislative decisions?
That's supposed to be a secret. Nobody's supposed to know about my drinking. And I don't
We're
drink
not
that.
supposed to know.
No,
We're-
we're not. I don't drink that much. I wouldn't look like this. Really, I wouldn't look this good and this young if I was drinking all the time. But I have a secret to tell you.
Okay, we need to know.
This is my 3rd drink tonight. I had 2 before I came on the show.
And this is it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Oh.
number 3.
Number 3.
I would offer you some, but you guys are across the camera. I can't do it.
Yeah. No, I see that. So I'm curious about, if you have any interest in ending the insider trading. You seem to really like it, but I know that most people, especially Democrats, don't. They'd prefer our congresspeople not to be doing insider trading.
I don't see what's wrong with insider trading. I mean, my investments, I've done really good on my investments, and I have somebody that helps me with them, and I really don't know exactly what's going on with that. All I know is I'm making money, and I'm very thankful for that. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I kind of think that the republic is collapsing under its own weight of insider trading. Do you have any concerns about the future of this country at this point? I mean, Mr. Trump just won a 2nd term on your watch. Anything to say about that?
I'm so distraught over that when it shouldn't have happened. He should be in prison right now. He really should. I'm very sad. I don't know what's wrong with the American people. I'm disappointed that Kamala Harris didn't win. I don't know. What can I say? That's what
Well,
I think.
Well, yeah, but you say you don't know what's wrong with the American people. Have you stopped to think about what may be wrong with the Democratic Party? Just a thought.
Well, maybe we're going on a different turn, and maybe we need to take that and bring it forward again like it was before. I don't know. I'm not sure what to do. All I know is I have another term. I want to go and win, and I want to help the Democrat Party continue to move forward in the best way possible like we used to. That's what I say about that.
Yeah, I would say it's probably been since before she was in Congress, with all due respect, former Madam Speaker. But I think that this calls for an intervention. Jen.
Well, but it's funny because this is really why I'm sitting here and I'm thinking in all seriousness that this is why I would never be able to have a discussion with people like that. This is really why, because I don't even know what to, I'm just, Yeah, and I can't. I'm a terrible actress. I told you I'm not good actress.
Well, I do think that this calls for, as I said,
Okay.
another guest to join, because
Okay.
it's been a little while since we've heard from him, but Lord knows this is a very important time to hear from the senator from Vermont.
Okay, and he is war criminal Joker card, guys. He is one of our two Jokers. So we got Bernie Sanders, and we do have Kamala in now. That Speaker Pelosi mentioned Kamala. So we got 5 of spades, we've got a Joker, and we have our 4 of hearts, Hakeem Jeffries, out right now.
Nice.
Madam Pelosi, I know this is not the normal circumstances that you and I would be speaking with each other. I can't pretend like I'm happy to see her, and I genuinely want to stop pretending that I actually think that there's a future in the Democratic Party, with all due respect. I mean, I know I'm already an independent, aren't I, Jen?
I don't know. You said that, but yet you seem to carry their water an awful lot.
Well, I've been listening in the back, and I heard a lot of what you had to say, former Madam Speaker, hopefully forever. But there is a very important letter that I sent out to all of my supporters. Jen, you may have gotten an email the other day. I don't know if you read it or not. You probably didn't, but I'm going to read it to you now.
Okay.
Okay.
Now Bernie's going to read us his email.
I have some very important information here that needs to be discussed. And so, while I know we have our good friend Jordan over at Status Quo News, I sent him a letter the other day, and I led with tough times. The American people understand that our economic and political systems are rigged. They know that the very rich, like Speaker Pelosi, get much richer, while almost everyone else becomes poor. And they know that we are moving rapidly into an oligarchic form of society. I would debate that we're already there.
Oh, we're there.
The Democrats ran a campaign protecting the status quo and tinkering around the edges. Trump and the Republicans campaigned on change and on smashing the existing order, which is what I did back in 2016. Not surprisingly, the Republicans won. Unfortunately, the change that Republicans will bring about will make a bad situation worse, and a society of gross inequality even more unequal, more unjust, and more bigoted. Will the Democratic leadership learn the lessons of their defeat and create a party that stands with the working class and is prepared to take on enormously powerful special interests that dominate our economy, our media, and our political life? Highly unlikely. They are too much wedded to the billionaires and corporates' interests that fund their campaigns. Given that reality, where do we go from here? This is a very serious question that needs a lot of discussion in the coming weeks and months. How do we expand our efforts to build a multiracial, multi-generational, working class movement? How do we create a 50-state movement, not politics based on electoral college and battleground states? How do we deal with Citizens United and the ability of billionaires to buy elections? How do we recruit more working class candidates for office at all levels of government? Should we be supporting independent candidates who are prepared to take on both parties? How do we better support union organizing? How do we put together listening sessions around the country that intentionally seek input from people who did not vote for Democrats in the last election, like fireside chats? How do we best use, I see you drinking there, Nancy. I can see how much you really appreciate what I'm saying here. How do we best use social media to build our movement and combat the lies and disinformation coming from the billionaire class and right-wing media? How do we build sustainable and long-term issue-based organizing structures that live beyond individual campaigns? These are some of the political questions that together we need to address. And it is absolutely critical that you make your voice heard during this process. Not me, us. That is the only way forward.
I wish I believed you.
Speaker Pelosi, do you have anything to say in response to what I just said?
Oh, Bernie, you know I love you very much. You're a good friend of mine, but I don't agree with what you said, that the Democrat Party is abandoning the working class. And you said the working class is abandoning the Democrat Party. That's not true. You shouldn't have said that. It's embarrassing to us that you said that. And I don't know. Sometimes I really think he voted for Trump. I do. And who else I think voted for Trump? Joe and Joe Biden, because Joe is just way too happy that Trump won. He is smiling. his brain function seems to be good all of a sudden. I don't know.
I would think you'd be happy about Trump winning. Your portfolio will do excellent.
Well, I wanted Kamala because she's a woman, she's of color, and I was working with her a little bit, trying to help her with her campaign. And, well, she didn't win, unfortunately. And
It
I
was,
don't,
I would like to say that I did offer my services to campaign around the country on behalf of Vice President Harris and Governor Walz, and I was rejected soundly. I wonder
Yes.
if you had anything to do with that, Madam Speaker, because I could have provided a lot of help in some of those very important key swing states in the upper Midwest where I am still very popular.
You mean instead of Liz Cheney? Like he might have been a better surrogate, a better companion on that campaign than Liz Cheney.
perhaps you would have been, I have to say. Yes, I agree with that.
Oh, you see, I actually got
I-
some agreement here for once.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm sorry, Bernie. I'm just very disappointed in this whole election. And I
Well,
just,
Well, the only future that we're going to have if the Democratic Party is to survive and thrive is we must reject the corporate special interest money coming from Wall Street and Silicon Valley. You, Madam Speaker, have been a big reason why the party has been infested with this money for so many years. Are you prepared tonight to say that the Democratic Party will no longer take that money?
I'll work on that, okay? I will go in my office tomorrow and work on that. I trust me on that. I will work on that. Yes, Bernie, I'll work
That's
on
the
that.
politician's answer. What do you think?
I don't know, but I think you're also Mick resistance in saying you support the idea of going another direction when in fact you won't.
Well, what would you like us to do, Jen? Us old geriatrics here, we're looking at the youth like you. What is your advice? What are we supposed to do?
I'm ready to burn all this shit down.
Oh,
Seriously. Like this is just silly.
Well, I would probably care less
sorry.
about that. But Speaker Pelosi has quite the portfolio. I don't think she would like you burning things to the ground. She
Wow.
oh no, you gotta do that, Jen. Can't do that.
No.
I know
no.
I'm 84, but my mind's still good. It's still good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what the future of our country holds. All I can tell you is that I am now very proud to embrace my independence as a United States Senator. What will be my last term, I can justifiably say this is the last term that I will serve in Congress. I'll be 89 by the time
And that's also ridiculous.
Oh, you're all,
This is the both of you are ridiculous with this.
we're a year apart. We're like Irish twins.
Jesus.
Well, either we pass the baton or we simply will have the baton taken from us when we're put down on the ground.
Yeah.
Either
If
way-
you're like cold dead carcasses, we'll have to peel them. I get it.
Can't do that. Well, at least my face will be beautiful in the casket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaker Pelosi, I do have one last question for you. As you probably noticed, the state of California is not as blue as it used to be. And you're going to have some very important races coming up in the future. I know you are looking at that nephew of yours. The governor of California wants to be president of the United States.
Yeah.
Are you going to be backing Governor Newsom, or can we expect you to be a little bit more fair and open-minded about the electoral process in the Democratic primaries in the future?
I'm going to be a little bit, I'm going to think about this, and I am going to talk to my nephew. There has
I
to
don't
be
even think
some
Kamala. I
changes.
don't even think your friend Kamala is going to win that governor's race.
Well, that'll be pretty funny if she does decide to run. But I must say, I am very disappointed with where the Democrats are going. And if people decide that they have not been convinced by your candor this evening, that if going an independent route is the way that they want to go, then I must say, Godspeed. I think I've had enough of this. What do you think, Jen?
Respect that. I do. I respect that. I don't know if we can have a three-party system, but it might work. I don't know.
Well, anything's better than what we're stuck with right now, because the American people are they are mad, they are distraught, and they are frankly tired of a lot of us running this country into the ground for so long. And may I just say, with all due respect, I think you've had quite a bit to do with that.
A lot.
No, I don't know.
And as you can see, even in the face of overwhelming evidence, and direction, they still refuse to take responsibility for their actions. And with that, I gotta get out of here.
Bye. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Jen and Peter, for having me. I appreciate it. I really do.
Cammie, let everybody know who you are. It's great to have you back again. Thank you for the.
It's so hard. It's so
method.
ridiculous.
I said method. Yeah. It is.
Yes, I'm Cammie Burnett, and I'm an actress, comedian, and I do impersonations of Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris, and I've done some other ones too that aren't in the limelight, which I hope they like.
Do we have a picture of what do you normally look like? Like, I don't think I know.
Colin, you have a.
Is there?
You have a more flattering picture of the lovely lady on the screen.
I'm just like
on all social media. On the
I'm
social
sure.
media, my profile photo is on all of them.
Because I have a feeling you're really cute, but it's hard to take this seriously.
Oh,
You know, this is probably.
you.
Yeah. This is probably the one downside of Kamala not winning is that we actually had a really good Kamala in person.
I know you're. Yeah.
You know,
no.
that would have.
That's
you know,
the bad part of that. The only bad part.
Yeah, guys, we did have Cammie on before as Kamala, and you should definitely go back and check that out. It was totally funny.
Oh, yeah. But this is just a reflection of how far our politics have sunk.
I wouldn't want to really talk to either of those people. That's the thing. And I feel bad saying that to you because I know but I know you understand why. Those are two people I would never really want to ever talk to.
Right. I understand.
Yeah.
Do you think that the political energy is changing though? Because I do think that, you ask most people and they would agree that even those that vote, especially those that voted for Trump, maybe not so much the Kamala voter, but even a lot of Trump voters are like, I'm done with this two-party system. I don't want this anymore. We have to have some type of almost like a titanic shift in what we're doing. And even in a state like California, it looked like there was somewhat of a shift, maybe not a significant shift, but
he got like 40%.
40%.
Yeah.
40%,
like to me, that's pretty significant.
And I think Oregon got like 42 or something like that. They were up there too.
Are you out in California?
I'm in LA.
Yeah.
I am in LA. Yes, I am.
Yeah, I can't believe he did that well out there.
Well, they did.
Yeah,
Well,
he
you
did.
guys have a new mayor now, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we do.
Yeah. And the mayor is more of a tough on crime,
Great.
type of guy.
That's nice.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, the DA. We have a new DA.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about a living wage in healthcare. That could probably solve a lot of the issues with crime on the streets, but
they'd rather lock people up.
There's too much money to be made. That's also
that's sure for sure.
Yeah, but you'll let us know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there will be another. You want to start working on your AOC? Because we know that she's gonna rise to the top.
I don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
I don't know about
AOC. I don't see her rising anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know either. You know what? I do a good Sarah Palin, and I wish she would come back in the office.
Hey, this would be a great time for her to come back.
Oh, for the love of all that is holy!
I know. Well, she's fun to do.
I wish you did someone I liked. I wish you did someone I liked.
I know.
Cool.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I don't want to do her at all because I don't. Yeah.
No, she's a good sideshow. I will say that.
Yeah.
You want to?
No, I mean, like somebody that I'd want to actually talk to.
Could you do Tulsi?
Well, Tulsi would at least be better to talk to.
Yeah, but
Tulsi doesn't have anything that distinguishing.
There's nothing that's distinguishing. I don't think she would be. I don't think I can make her funny. I don't think there's anything funny about her.
You're right. She's not very funny.
Yeah.
As Maged says, that is probably one of the more disturbing trends of Trump winning.
Okay, first of all, the concept that we have private prisons is so disgusting in and of itself. The fact that then people are trading on that is just, it's really, we are such a cesspool. Like, this is when I really feel like Trump does represent this country very well. The fact that that is a thing and is case in point.
Shouldn't be a thing.
No, that's absurd. That is so ridiculous. The whole thing that we have for-profit prisons, that they're trading off of it, that everybody's it's so gross, people. It's
Yeah.
so queer.
Well,
Definitely at a low point.
We're definitely going to see a lot of interesting things happen in the state of California in particular over the next few years. Butch Ware, who was the VP candidate of the Green Party, even though they didn't really do much of anything this election in terms of votes, but Butch is going to run for governor of California.
Oh, let Kamala run
Whoa.
against. Let Kamala run
Oh,
against.
she just
Butch
might.
Ware.
The talk is that Kamala is going to move back to, or well, I think she still lives in California
Yeah,
technically.
I think that's her.
But
I
she
think
is.
so, yeah.
There is talk of her running for governor in 2026. So
And
Hmm.
Butch Ware has already said that he was running.
yeah,
I love him.
you'll have some interesting political dynamics coming up. But
Yes,
with
I
that
love
said, you are quite a delight. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
you know,
having me again.
Absolutely. Keep kicking butt and taking names. I have no doubt that we will see some additional impressions. Just as
Yes.
I've got a few in my range. I'm going to be doing the former president of the United States.
Oh,
this
you're
evening.
good. You're really good.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, he does the ones that he because
Yeah.
you don't do ones unless you can really do
Bernie
them.
Sanders is just spot on.
Yeah,
Bernie
he
Sanders.
does Bernie,
Yeah.
he
Well,
does
since you're in-
Clinton, and he
well-
does Trump.
Well, but since you're in California, but I will say
Ah.
that you are quite good looking, and I appreciate you. And this is this a lady who probably should run for. I mean, if I could be governor of California,
Oh,
why can't
anyone
you-
could be.
Why can't Nancy Pelosi? I mean, whoever you are, you might be Pelosi, you might not, but go out there and run for office. You might do a good job.
He works out at my gym.
Really?
Do you
Arnold,
go to,
yeah.
go to
Gold's Gym in Venice. Yeah. The Mecca of
Wow.
bodybuilding. Yeah. I work
Okay,
out
so
there.
I'll tell
All right,
you
here now he's in. Okay, he's got a gym situation.
So I am the official signer of a joint venture on a Gold's Gym in Destin, Florida, on Highway, basically the equivalent of the Emerald Coast, which is the Florida Gulf. It's the equivalent of the Pacific Coast Highway. So that's basically where this gym is. You know, it's where all the condos are and all the people with
Right.
money, and they come and they lift every day. And so this is my
Probably a
new
huge
venture.
age
So
difference.
this is like talk about coming full circle, because I always would
Oh,
say it's
nice.
Arnold's Gym, because it is.
Arnold's
It's where
Gym, it
Arnold
is.
got
Yes.
So that's
Yes,
awesome.
Very
did.
cool.
Yeah.
Definitely pick a good one. And he still goes.
All
there
right, we
regularly.
need to make sure we'll make sure to put Cammy's stuff in our description too,
Yes.
guys.
So-
Guys,
Yes,
everybody
appreciate
find her
that.
contact, follow her.
100%. Cabby Burnett, have a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for what you
Great.
do.
You
and
both
we'll
have a good
talk to you.
Thanksgiving too. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, bye.
I'll see you.
So this is banana and it's really good. Now I know that with you that what happened is he brought him and he gave him to everybody, and I know that you don't eat
That
them.
is actually not true. He actually only had a few, but yes, he gave one to me. And
you
said,
don't
I
eat them.
I don't. So I figured I'd give it to Jen,
Exactly.
because that just makes sense.
Yes, it does, and it's quite good.
I'm glad you like it.
You know, and I'm hoping it's not laced with anything, you know. Or maybe I am hoping it's
Daryl,
laced with
you're going to
something.
have to fill me in why you think is becoming more communist Democrat every day.
Okay, first of all, the Democrats are not communists. That's just silly. It's just silly.
I'd say the Greens are fairly close to communist.
No,
They want to be.
no, the Greens are close to socialists, but like I really we've got, first of all, we got to stop with the labels. We've got to stop, especially when people really do not understand.
That's because
The
all the
Democrats-
jackoffs on the Democratic
I
side
know,
call everybody
I know.
fascist.
Which is also annoying. The Democrats are not left. They're not. They're not left. The Democratic Party in this country is right of center anywhere else. They're actually to the right of Ronald Reagan.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So to call Democrats communists, it's just silly. It's silly. Plus, the concept of communism, truthfully, what you're trying to do is equate it with authoritarianism vis-a-vis like the Soviet Union, Cuba, Venezuela, or what you perceive to be
You picked that up from Dr. West.
the Soviet Union. No. What did I pick? from?
Vis-a-vis.
Never.
Yes, he says that a lot.
No.
I like it.
I never.
That's fine.
No, I didn't. No. But anyway, and yet that is not actually communism.
I don't know. Are they Marxists?
Okay, well, Marxist is another interesting concept, because people that are Marxist, it really just means that they understand the concept that Marx was teaching, that they believe that capitalism inherently will implode on itself and that the socialism construct will follow in its place. So to be a Marxist doesn't mean you want to go around and command everyone else to be a certain way. Being a Marxist means you recognize the inherent dangers of capitalism and its inherent implosion, which is what we're witnessing right now. So, yeah, I'm just saying, like, Marxism is a concept of economics based on.
Tony, I think you're going to have to.
That's what I say.
I don't even know if I could call them center right anymore. I mean, they're getting to the point now where they listen.
Well, it bleeds because there's people that are Republicans that are left of them.
Sure.
And there's like, so it's just all, again, with the labels. It's
I mean,
all
look,
silly.
I have one guest that we have both been wanting to get on the show that I still cannot get his attention is Thomas Frank. And, you know, he was on with Katie Halper recently, and he said that they basically have become like a full on Republican Party now.
Yeah.
Like,
So, I mean, there's
around.
nothing remotely also, they're not even social democrats.
Oh, that's gone. Like, that's over.
Right. So, like,
That's
to even think that people on the right would consider Democrats communists is just so strange to me. Like, here's the thing. I could only wish from your mouth to mythical sky beings' ears, because
Well, I must say that I invoked God quite a few times when I was president, and luckily enough, that bullet didn't kill me.
See, it's good enough where I can tell that's who it is, but it's definitely not great. Like, it's not like your other ones.
Well, I could.
Really
I can work on it.
I guess,
I
but
practice. Yeah. Nancy is still looking for the other half of my brain. By the time she finds it, I think I'll be good enough. But in hindsight, Reagan was an extremely moderate president.
Oh, completely.
Compared to everything that has come.
Other than completely forging like a holy communion with the religious right.
Reagan started it. There's no question that he did. He was the tipping point. But
because the religious, the moral majority infiltration into the Republican Party, that was really on him. So he might have been left in terms of things like nowadays we'd consider him left on immigration. Oh my God, he was actually speaking about immigrants with dignity and respect and wanting to help them.
No, Reagan was
fascinating.
Reagan may be the godfather of the modern day Republican Party, but he still had his liberal bona fides. They were there. He didn't completely leave them.
And let's be clear, not a fan.
No. But in reality, Reagan to me, when I assess him as a president, I think he was an exceptional leader. He's one of the best we ever had in that regard. But his policies set a lot of things in motion. But in terms of where things really went off the rails, it happened under Clinton domestically, and it happened with Bush foreign.
I think even before that.
But if you want to talk about the president,
because you could really go Carter. I know.
Jimmy Carter,
it's so disturbing to me, and because that was it. So now it's like none of them.
But this is where our friend here is correct. This isn't a left or right thing.
Absolutely.
And this is one of the key, and this is why I have never grabbed a clip of Nicole Shanahan, who was the VP choice of Bobby Kennedy. But it is very important that
charisma.
No
charisma.
I think she means well.
I don't really, but I'm just saying like that. She just there was no.
But there's something very important that you guys need to understand, because she says this in her clip, and we're gonna get to this rationale about what is and what isn't regarding big pharma, stocks, single payer healthcare. You know, we were talking about how prison stocks have been doing well. Well, guess what? Big pharma stocks have not been doing well since Trump got in. And that shouldn't surprise anybody, but that has more to do with RFK. That's a big deal.
I know. I love it.
And so here's what.
But that's the kind of stuff that gets people dead.
That's true, which is why Nicole Shanahan chose her words very carefully, but we're going to explain why she had to in this clip. So here we go.
The pharmaceutical companies and their top investors have had emergency meetings over the last week. And I've been hearing rumors about it. And, you know, we get our calls as well. And people are like, is this really happening? Is this actually happening? Can you give us some insight as to what Bobby's going to do? And I was like, look, it's not about Pfizer being or pharmaceutical companies being bad, right? They've done some very bad things.
You can stop right there. Big pharma pretty much only does very bad things.
Can I say something? Companies don't do bad things. Companies are just companies. People do really shitty things. Okay, so
Companies are not people.
Companies are not people.
Despite what Mitt Romney says.
Exactly. So to blame like a company is silly. It's people like the Sacklers. It's the people that are in charge, and it's the lobbyists. That's who the problem is, and all their pimps at every multi-level marketing scheme in the pharmaceutical process. But yes, it is a problem.
Amen to that.
But the idea of them in and of itself is actually quite positive. Do the research, come up with interesting treatments and drugs, and just be honest. And if the vaccine works, that's wonderful. If there are injuries, let's understand and screen those populations in advance and come up with different schedules. Mumps, measles, rubella, it's 3 and 1. If you talk to some of the doctors, when they vaccinate their kids, they actually seek out each of these vaccines separately. Measles vaccine separate from the mumps and rubella, and they'll give their children that single shot, on a slightly different timeline. We have so many things we can do to save this industry and to save these companies. It's not necessarily we want Pfizer to disappear overnight. And we don't want the stock to tank. In fact, we'd love for it to be a successful stock.
Why do we want that?
Why do we want that?
Why do we want Pfizer to be a successful stock?
Yeah, I don't understand.
You were very adamant about how we didn't need vaccine mandates, and we clearly didn't. And now it's almost universally true that the only people who needed to take the Pfizer vaccine, which is apparently the only one that actually was effective, if you even want to call it that.
I did that.
Were people that was one that I used. Are people in vulnerable health categories? Which wasn't me.
I honestly regret doing it. I
do too.
I held out. You and I held out like the longest.
I had to. You were mad. I had to travel. I didn't have a choice.
I know.
It's like,
and I had a concert.
I wanted to. There was no way that I was getting into Newark Airport without that vax card.
I had to either get my vaccine or have to have the instant test, and that was when they had to stick the thing up the nose.
Yeah.
Well, hell, if I'm going to let somebody do that, so I got the vaccine.
So when you talk about Pfizer being a successful stock, it's a successful stock because they manipulated the market and made everybody have to go and get the jab, and then they kept repeating it and saying you got to get a booster and you got to.
You're basing it all on just what happened in 20 with COVID.
That's just one prime example.
Right.
But
this has been going on forever.
Of course, but
they've been doing this forever.
Can point to.
We pay twice. We pay. Our universal resources go to pay and subsidize things like research and development for those companies. And then they fuck us on the back end and rape us with the prices that they could never get away with charging in other countries.
Yeah.
And we're the ones that fund, not with our tax dollars, but our country funds them. And then we pay again on the back end. And it's such a scam.
And
it's such a scam.
Yeah. And Sisyphean, we're not telling you not to get the vax.
No.
What we're telling you is that
I wish I didn't, because I was not vulnerable. I ended up and I had COVID before I got vaccinated. I actually had COVID way early on.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the reasons why I wasn't running out to get vaccinated, because I actually had COVID.
So did I.
Right. So, but no, I don't tell everybody should do what works for them. I think if somebody is vulnerable, if they, whatever, people, just everybody, I'm very live and let live. I really am. I don't tell anybody else what to do or not do. I regret doing it because as somebody who is very kind of pure about things that I let be on my person and touch my person and products that I use, it bothers me that I was injected with something that I feel like we're finding out has issues.
Exactly. And that's all I'm saying. So long as you are free, absolutely. That is the simple libertarian way. If you choose,
you're free to get it back.
Every choice.
Pfizer is not free to rape you for that.
Correct. And that is why, especially it'd be one thing. And that's when you knew it was a scam.
Let them provide a product, and let them, honestly, for things that are not necessarily required. Now, that would be if somebody was vulnerable and they got a prescription for it or whatever it is. But let the drug companies charge shit ton of money for that shit like Ozempic and all that crap.
Ozempic.
Let
Can
them
you
charge a
believe
ton
that
of
they
money
have
for
come
that
up-
stuff. I don't care if people want to pay a fortune of money for that and they're willing to poison themselves for that. That's fine. But anything that is like where you need that and it's not just a choice, then yeah.
Yeah. How do you
Nobody
think?
should be making money off of that, like a profit.
And that's not to say that Pfizer hasn't done good things or that they wouldn't be a profitable company as a big pharmaceutical industry advancing medicine in this country and around the world. But there is corporate greed, and that is the overwhelming makeup of their business model. That's why the old joke, sponsored by Pfizer, on every major television network in the United
It's bad.
States. That's a
The
problem.
constant pharma ads are just so frustrating. It's bad.
How do you think how do you think they become a successful stock? That's how it happens. It's not because they're doing good work.
No.
And granted, I think she's choosing her words very carefully because they understand that they're crossing the Rubicon with the direction he's going in.
My only knowledge of her, and again, it's very limited, is that somehow she paid for that VP slot on his ticket by just being a really high-end donor.
Well, she ended up.
To me,
my understanding is that she is the one who fronted the $4 million to play the Kennedy ad during the Super Bowl last year.
So that being said, this is someone who runs in oligarchic circles. So if you're in oligarchic circles, that is somehow, some way how your bread is buttered.
Correct.
So you're only going to go as far as you're able to go without your bread not being buttered. And so that's what she's doing. She's never going to ever speak truth, real truth to power.
One of the main reasons why I didn't take the shot, and I think you didn't take the shot, is because you never jump on board with something as soon as it comes out. You have to see what happens. And there were people
and
that
the truth
were
is,
rushing.
you should see it for a long time after, not just. And that is why
I went almost 10 months. Like I went a long time. They came out in December, and I got it in August or right around there. All right, so 9 months. But at that point, you had already heard the rumblings that the Moderna vax was not good, that there were issues with it. And that's a good one, Mario. I like that. Nicole Shenanigan.
And my other thing was the mandating.
As Chris Garrett says, we funded the research and Pfizer privatized the patent and profits. And that is how you make the stock balloon through the roof.
And that is something that needs to be addressed, is our patent laws in this country.
And of course, if we had single payer, this wouldn't be an issue.
No, that's a separate issue. But I do think our patent laws are so absurd that it's just one more thing. And most people don't really think of it that way when they're wondering why some things are so expensive. You don't necessarily go back that far on the food chain, but
not good. Believe me, not good. Totally not good.
But the patent thing is a problem.
We'll finish it out.
That is directly tied with health outcomes. I mean, if that was the case, we wouldn't have a problem here. But that's not the case. That the increase in their stock price over the last 10 years has been directly tied to many injuries that have been swept under the rug, as that has been the case with Merck. And so the correction we're seeing right now is the right one, that they made a mistake. The company has failed in its duty to deliver a safe and effective product. And it's time for them to readjust. And so one of the arguments I've heard, and I think is a very good argument, is that if they focused on treatments, right, effective, safe treatments, and really, push those out and did safety studies and did population studies, because there are sensitive populations to every drug, that they would be able to rebound their stock in a matter of a year or two. And so, this argument that Bobby coming into HHS is going to be disastrous to pharma, I actually think is the wrong argument. It might be the best blessing for the long-term success of these companies if they have the willpower to turn it around and make the right decisions financially for themselves. Because at the end of the day, we have a free market in this country, and we have to utilize those levers to get to what we want, which is a healthier nation and drug companies that are helping people and not harming them.
And I guess we should just rely on everybody's like goodwill and the honor system to do that.
They are relying on people to not be healthy. That's how they make money. Why do you think we are one of only 2 nations in the world?
I can't take her seriously. I just looked up. So I knew that there was a story about the ex-husband and what that was. And like, so where her real money is from, because her money isn't from her.
No, she's
an attorney.
married to like a hedge funder or something like that.
No, the originator of one of the originators of Google.
Oh, okay. No, well, that explains it. So she's sitting on like 100 million or something like that.
Who knows what she got in their settlement? You know, I didn't look at how
A lot of
long
that
they
is
were
not-
married.
A lot of that's not documented. Texas.
All I know is that
Texas
kind
has
of
no
money is not
disclosure
from just
clause.
being an attorney. that
No,
she's doing.
no, of course not. But be it as it may, I personally think that Bobby is already having a profound impact, and he hasn't even been confirmed yet.
I'm concerned for him.
I would be concerned too, because a lot of people are now talking, and I've seen it on Fox News, I've seen it on News Nation. They are talking about the labels on your food and the stuff you put in your body. Granted, you know, you guys are probably not a big fan, but I listen to Tim Pool every once in a while, and he did address this to his 2 million plus audience, and he talks about what he has on a regular basis. We've been to Tim Pool's compound, and I can tell you that from that experience being there, they're very healthy eaters.
Yeah.
They're very,
Yeah.
concerned about the things that you put in your body. And this was,
which is
over
how
3
I
years ago.
feel, which is why that's my reason for regretting the vaccine is
Of
not
course.
just not knowing. And
Feeling like you were backed into a corner. Like you
Yes.
didn't have a choice.
I know it's really not good for me. I did not like that. And I'm the kind of person, and I know this is not the smart thing to do always, but I'm the kind of person where if you tell me I have to do something, I would rather die than do it, even if I would have done it anyway.
Yeah.
Like I am that person. Like I am gonna dig my heels in.
Now, I don't think that she was explicitly talking about this idea that we have to protect pharma. I think she was
No.
trying to have her cake and eat it
But
too.
what's very telling is the fact that she was even approaching any of it from that angle in the first place.
Mhm.
So who is she selling that to? She's selling that to her colleagues in the oligarchic world as to why they shouldn't be. She's basically there trying to hold the hands of some of her anti-Trump Republican friends and be like, it's not going to be so bad. I promise you, you'll still make tons of money. That's all she's doing. So I like, this is, yeah.
Since the day you decided you were going to run
She's cute though.
well, yeah, well, then that makes it okay. That just makes it
No,
okay.
I mean, it's better. I mean, it's like if somebody's going to be sitting there
Well,
and
she can
spewing
sell.
oligarchic nonsense, I'd rather them be cute.
Rather than be like Pelosi. I'm just saying.
Are we going to talk about Lindsey Graham wanting to invade The Hague?
So Lindsey Graham.
Are we going to talk about him wanting to like start sanctioning our allies and like he wants to invade The Hague because these people are nuts?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You give credit where credit is due. Did Candace Owens make a clean break from the Ben Shapiro's of the world regarding Gaza? Let me tell you, I saw an image the other day. I saw an image of a kid, like you saw. Okay,
I don't know that I saw that one. But you could send it to me. As much as I don't want to see it, I force myself to look at it. I have to look at it.
I basically saw.
I have to bear witness. I've seen kids with their heads missing.
With their heads, with the no.
Oh no,
literally
half
with the head,
off.
with the head open, with the brain
hanging.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, I've seen that. I've seen kids being carried without limbs and no anesthetic.
I'm telling you, if there were, this is the thing in this. So Darryl,
like I'm never going to be okay from this.
No, and nobody.
I'm never going to be okay from this. I feel like, and this is, I know, a very.
But so, what does it say about
privileged thing to say that I feel like this is taking years off of my life, which is why I cannot fathom how people that are actually in it have relatives in it. Like it's suffocating.
Well, how does somebody
suffocating?
How does somebody like Lindsey Graham at this point justify? I mean, I think is he just totally sociopathic? Is that, or is he really just a slot machine? And you put the money in, you pull the lever, and he does exactly what you tell him to say.
I don't know. He's to me. He's Porky Pig to me.
Tell him we're going. That's pretty good. But saying that we're going to invade. Listen, you've got
my Uncle Billy used to do an amazingly good Woody Woodpecker. Sorry. He did, and he did Donald Duck.
I can't do Donald Duck.
My uncle did Donald, and he did Woody Woodpecker. He did a great Woody Woodpecker. Okay, anyway. Okay, go on.
But
Lindsey Graham is
Lindsey Graham.
He's crazy.
You know how there's so
Like
many
maniacal.
closeted gay,
Oh my God.
Southern conservative men that just hate themselves.
Every time I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, I know he's wearing
J. Edgar
lingerie.
Hoover.
I know
J.
he's
Edgar
wearing lingerie under. He's
100%.
totally wearing a G-string under there.
And so while he's talking about sending the ICC or going to the Hague,
Oh my God.
it's because we declared Netanyahu and Galat war criminals.
Well, no, we didn't. The rest of the world did.
Oh, the rest of the world did. But I would like to consider ourselves part of that group.
No, we're
because we would
above
do
that. We're in that whole rules. We believe in rules-based order. Well, I don't. I believe in actually law-based order. But you know, we're gonna
to our good. To our good as Islamic
I
friend.
think there's lots.
I
of things
must
on
tell
him.
you, my friend, we live.
He is
in
one
a
bathroom stall away from a good scandal.
What was the name of the congressman that went to the bathroom in
It was in
Minnesota?
Texas. I thought he was Texas. No, it was with the leg with the foot under the stall.
My friend,
Craig, what's his name? Craig?
Yeah, something like that. Guys, in the chat, what was the name of the congressman?
I think it was Craig.
That was that got.
Was the last name?
Yeah, he got caught. And I think it was in like Michelle Bachmann's district or some shit.
I don't know where it was, but I do remember.
Minnesota's come a long way from Michelle Bachmann, haven't they?
Yeah.
Larry Craig. Thank you, Minalita and Meatwad.
See, I said Craig. I was right.
No, Larry Craig.
That's pretty good for a stoner. But and here's the thing, and everybody who ever watches this would know this. Like, let's say Lindsey Graham was into that whole fetish thing, whatever. Good for him. All the power to him. Happy for him. That doesn't bother me.
Let me tell you, you know what you're gonna.
I could not care less.
I got to tell you guys, you know what you got to look out for this particular the second integration of the Trump administration. We already know within a matter of days who is eyeing Lindsey Graham's Senate seat, and of course it's Nancy Mace. And so
I don't know who she is.
She's the lady who's already put the bill forward about trans people, like the person who got elected, to using the bathrooms on the. I'm not kidding. This is what's important, you know.
God.
And so
South Carolina is one of the
Kakalaki,
one of the poorest, has the poorest county. Like, it's one of the most needy places in this country, and she's worried about
South Carolina,
who uses what bathrooms.
The shame is that South Carolina is actually a very beautiful state. But
this is neither
it's
here nor
got
there.
a very
South Carolina is beautiful.
South Carolina does have a real Dixie hardened history that they will not let.
And the problem is they're represented by people like Lindsey Graham and Jim Clyburn
and Tim Scott.
Well, just in general, just people that have so sold them out. They really, and it's
both parties. It's not one. I mean,
it's just so ridiculous to think of these people have been sitting there for 40 years plus, selling the same people the same bag of shit, and their lives keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and they just keep selling it to them.
Well, it's not going to surprise me if Nancy Mace comes up with some type of a plan to get Lindsey Graham caught with his pants down, literally and figuratively.
I have no doubt that if you had the right amount of money, that information could be procured. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I was I've been to Fort Sumter. It's actually really cool.
Do you know that South Carolina is the only southern state that has never changed their borders? It's always been the same since it was official.
That's interesting.
Yep. So,
but I have been there.
I've
been to multiple places. I've driven. Well, I've been to a lot of parts.
I've been to south of the border. I mean, that counts for something.
Not really.
Not really. I mean,
no.
Not that shitty Tex-Mex food.
That's ridiculous. That is one of the most ridiculous things. Nobody goes.
It's always
there.
one of our. Maybe not anymore, but it's still a fireworks junket for a lot of people that don't normally come.
South Carolina is very beautiful.
It is. And with that said, we are going to play this clip. Candace Owens, look, whether she really has turned a corner or not, this statement to me is very important as it relates to what's going on in Gaza.
About the life of children, innocent children slaughtered, the numbers now above tens of thousands of children that have been slaughtered, is not only an American value, it's a conservative value, it is a Christian value. And to the hypocrites and the spineless people who can't say that, they have no place in our future government. I truly do believe that. And that's why I say this unabashedly. I just can't believe, I cannot believe what I am seeing today of people pretending this is about anti-Semitism. Like, if somebody else was in there, no one would be saying anything. Like, yeah, no, I'm sure if Putin was in Israel and had murdered 20,000 children, everyone would just be chill. because this is really just about the fact that they're Jewish. I mean, it is just mind blowing. It really is. The dishonesty, the deception, the Western media smearing and libeling anybody who has a soul and the decency to say that children should not be murdered like this. Water should not be cut off. Electricity should not be cut off. You have Doctors Without Borders saying they've never seen anything like this. They went over there. They've been in multiple war zones, saying that, writing pieces, op-eds, saying this is not a war zone. This is not a war zone. This is a genocide.
I also completely reject the term humanitarian crisis, and fuck every person with a talking head that uses the phrase humanitarian crisis. This is not a humanitarian crisis. That's what you say things like after a hurricane or an earthquake, things that's a humanitarian crisis, a drought, that's a humanitarian crisis.
My guess is that when this really started heating up around November, December, right around when it was obvious what they were doing. And she probably confronted Shapiro and Rubin and just said, you guys are seriously going along with this? And she probably, for the very first time, being in this part of the conservative media echo chamber,
the Zionist portion,
she probably experienced bigotry in a way that she had never experienced before.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Zionists are bigots. So the only
transparent bigots.
Yeah, but the only reason she had never really experienced it before is they really saw her as one of theirs, at least somebody that was on their side. So they weren't they had no reason to really expose themselves to her in that way. But as soon as she wasn't on their team, now she was probably, I can only imagine how they treat. And again, I am by no means a Candace Owens supporter or fan. I have never liked her. And with the exception of Gaza, I don't think I've ever agreed with her about anything.
Because this is the particular issue where she remembered that she's a Black woman in America around certain people that will never accept her. They will use her for the amount of money they can make off of her. And this is not to say that there isn't a contingent within conservative media that truly is just about America first. They don't see color, they don't see race, creed, any of that. And I do believe that that 1000% exists. But I also believe that Ben Shapiro is one of the biggest scum-sucking pieces of shit in all of media. Like, he is a pathetic excuse for a human being. And he's the total beta male cuck that we always talk about. He would never pick up a weapon to defend this country.
He wouldn't know.
He would always push the button.
Yeah, and
put people to death.
And the thing about her is, and again, I've never liked her before, but let's say hypothetically this was an awakening for her and really seeing things for her. Well, I have to be somewhat welcoming of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, good. And I do appreciate her using her platform, whatever that is. I'm sure it's big.
And they love her.
I know. I was going to say, it's like, I'm sure her platform is really big. And I'm glad
I've
that
paid
she's
very close
using
attention,
it for this. And it clearly matters to her. She's clearly very affected by this.
Her biggest support network by far is white men. Like, it's so obvious. You read the comments, you see the channel.
I would think so.
And
I would think so.
Now it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in 2 months.
I agree with her, though. Can I, as somebody, and I'm an atheist, and I've always been one. But I understand religion. I've studied religion. I understand it very well. And I really cannot think of anything more unchristian than massacring the descendants of Jesus. Like, I really can't. Like, so I get that. And I think from her, it might be from that angle, which is fine. However, you come to the realization that this is all
whatever brought her here, I think is perfectly acceptable, because ultimately she is a powerful voice.
Good.
And she walked away from a lot of money in order to say, no, I can't do this. Like, this is crossing the Rubicon. I'm not going to do it. Like, I cannot be a Christian and go to sleep at night knowing that you, Ben Shapiro, are facilitating the genocide with the Daily Wire, which he is doing.
And really, if you think about it, the term Christian Zionist is an oxymoron. Actually, it's kind of like how I always say Jews for Jesus, but like, it really is. Because if you're truly a Christian person, Christ-like consciousness Christian person, you would not be able to go along with the concept of an ethno-supremacist state, a white ethno state. Like it wouldn't suit. And certainly not massacring all of Jesus's people.
Ron McKinnon and Jen Perlman, I just have, first of all, Jen, you're a really terrible Jew. I just have to put that out there. You do not represent us.
Too much Lindsey Graham.
You cannot, listen, you cannot speak for us. You are not part of our tribe. You're out. I'm taking your Jew card away. You're not allowed to have it anymore.
Oh my God, he is
the Jews
so
are the most
bad.
persecuted people on the planet right now. I don't want to hear anything about how we're committing a genocide. We are not. We have the right to defend ourselves. Bibi Netanyahu is not a war criminal. The Hague is terrible.
Oh, you said Netanyahu. We haven't even gotten to dip into the.
I did say Netanyahu. He is a hero of mine. And
okay.
I appreciate everything that he's doing.
Netanyahu, ace of diamonds. Ace of diamonds. We have ace of diamonds. Okay, I'm playing war criminal poker.
Like he needs to be strung up by. Like he needs the biggest wedgie in the history.
He is one of he. This is someone who, like, if he went to our camp, he would have had a swirly like every single day.
Oh, and he would have deserved it.
Every single day of his life.
But that's the problem with guys like that.
Porcelain.
Well, because he probably did, and that's why when guys like that get positions of power, especially short beta male cuck men that get power, and he wears that fucking yarmulke on his head.
Okay, but you know what though? I have to think of somebody. Is there must be somebody out there that isn't a total like that wears a yarmulke. We're gonna have to find somebody that wears a yarmulke.
All I know is that he's one. He's not, if not the worst. So,
yeah, he's pretty bad.
And remember,
he's a very bad representation of the tribe.
And he is connected to a lot of money and a lot of power, and that is the only reason why we have to suffer through it.
All right, so we will then platform Candace, which I never thought I would do.
We'll keep going.
Everybody's just conspiring to hate Jews. I mean, it's pointedly ridiculous, and it is really telling when even Israeli publications are saying that calling this anti-Semitism is a joke. It just is a joke. And I am proud of myself for being on the right side of this thing. And I'm embarrassed. I am so embarrassed that I ever had anything to do with the woke right. I didn't know they were woke on this issue. Like it took October 7th and all of this happening for me to see their true colors. And I am so embarrassed I had anything to do with these people. I really am. And I will not allow them to forget this. I will not allow them to forget that they stood on platforms, called themselves pro-life, called themselves anti-woke, collected money, went out to donors, asked for investments. And then when it actually mattered, they shirked. They shirked their responsibility. They completely cowered. And to think that the majority of people are men, it's even more sickening to me, to be honest with you. It's even more sickening.
طيب اليوم هو يوم الطفل العالمي. أنت إيش بتعرف عن حقوق الطفل؟
ولا حاجة.
I will never get Hind Rajab's voice out of my head, her calling them to come and get her from the car.
Or the guy who was burning alive in the hospital.
There's so I'm never getting over this, and I'm never gonna it's changed everything.
And Colin lives in Northeast Texas, where Christian Zionism is very powerful. Joel Osteen, Houston,
right.
Texas.
Point being, though, and it's inherently anti-Semitic. Zionism is totally anti-Semitic. We're living in a bizarro world. Up is down, down is up.
Well, I think that Candace feels secure in her position where she actually believes in herself and doesn't feel that she needs the anchor of the Daily Wire in order to make her living, that she feels that even if it is going to be a sacrifice.
She also has the privilege of not having probably to worry about it.
Oh, probably not. No, she's been, listen, Candace has been around for a number of years now.
No, not just that, but I mean, I don't think that she's not worrying about how she's going to keep a roof over her head.
Well, let's see what she's willing to do once Trump takes the oath. Because this is going to, if there is an issue that needs to be at the forefront, the second he takes that oath, it's this issue.
But I'm almost scared for that because I know the direction that that's going to go in, and it's not good.
I don't know about that.
It's just not going to be good. I'm looking at the people that he's appointing, and it's not, there's no
the scariest
sign.
But the most beautiful part about the people that Trump is appointing, these are all people directly connected to Miriam Adelson. Maybe, just maybe, because it is so obvious that this is a pay-to-play of the worst kind.
Oh,
If
completely.
you are looking for the right momentum to say we have to overturn Citizens United, this is it. Because she basically bought the presidency.
But
and
is that
said,
really any different than Hillary buying the Democrats, other than they can't win?
Well, the difference is
They can't win.
is that if you look at the most significant change that ever ends up happening, the Democratic Party is always the party of resistance. Like they never.
I don't find them resisting.
No,
very
what I'm
much.
saying is that they resist change.
Oh,
It's always the GOP that manages to force the change to happen. And so in this case, maybe the change that is going to happen is that there is going to be this sort of momentum now where people are going to say, we can't have people like Miriam Adelson literally deciding the fate of our foreign policy.
you need more people like Candace Owens. You need more Republicans to really be standing up.
Just the fact that this is happening. I mean, think about how pathetic the Democrats are. The fact that they get everyone to keep their fucking mouth shut, even in the face of somebody like Kamala Harris, who didn't even go through a primary process, who is an absolutely atrocious public speaker if she isn't in front of a teleprompter. There are so many layers to it. And we could go into the deep dives all over again. But the fact of the matter is, the Democratic Party, as it's currently constructed, is a dead-end party. Both parties probably are dead end, but there is at least a sliver within the GOP that there is some populist energy that could actually affect change. The Democratic Party, dead. Completely dead, and they should be dead and buried. And the more they continue to act the way that they do, they will continue to facilitate their own demise.
They bleed people every day, which is ultimately what needs to happen, which is why, like, when people are sitting here doing this whole like Monday morning thing with the Democratic Party, my thought is, why do we care?
Well, you've even said about Wasserman Schultz, it's like the same thing. Let her hang herself.
Yeah, no, I mean, just let them go down with their shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, why people are trying to analyze. I know the flawless campaign. People are trying to analyze what went wrong, and they have no self-awareness. And we sit here and we talk about Democrats, but the bigger question I have is, why do we care?
At this point, we shouldn't care.
It's not going to matter. It doesn't matter. There's nothing we're going to say, we're going to do. They're not going to care. They don't care. They're a bunch of plutocrats that are basically the violin section on the Titanic. And they're willing to just go down with the ship to keep them and theirs as rich as possible. And that's fine. Let them have that party. That's fine for them.
But that's also one of the reasons why they're like a wounded animal now. That's why somebody like Wasserman Schultz goes on TV all the time to basically continue to do the finger pointing. That's why somebody like Pelosi.
There is no doubt in my mind that every single time Debbie Wasserman Schultz puts herself out in public, another person is reminded that she's still around and is disgusted by her.
And is there,
like it doesn't ever, right?
Since 2 weeks since the election happened, there are still she still goes out there. There isn't a single person in leadership, Hakeem Jeffries, for example, that doesn't tell Wasserman Schultz, we're asking you nicely.
I don't think any of them are going out and doing it.
No, because
I think that she's the one who's willing to do it. Maybe they're not. Who knows?
Well, she's a total sociopath.
Well, she doesn't care.
She doesn't care at all. Like she
doesn't matter to her. She'll stand there. She doesn't care if she's hated. She has no care whatsoever.
The people who really are in the know understand how much responsibility she has in turning this state red. Like this is a red state now.
Well, I also think it just really goes to show you. I mean, the people who are running the party are still those same people, because if it was any different, she wouldn't be able to be front and center. So that just goes to show you, like, so long as we're seeing her, that means that the DNC is still the party of the Clintons.
How about this? How about this for a stat? The GOP won Florida by a bigger margin than the Democrats won New York over the GOP.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
Boy. Oh, boy.
Wow.
And that's only going to get worse, because let me tell you.
Well, that's just like the fact that Trump got 40% in California. That's crazy.
You get the right moderate to run against Hochul in the next go-around for governor of New York, they'll have a shot. Lee Zeldin only lost that race by like 6.5 points. He didn't lose by much.
And aren't we lucky? Because now he gets to be our energy secretary.
Probably better than having him as governor of New York, but nevertheless.
Yes, I'm so pleased to have a fossil fuel tycoon or whoever fund manager in charge of the Department of Energy. Yes, that does sound like a good idea.
That is, and Chris Garrett has it right on the money. That's true. That is a big part of it as well. And the fact that Wasserman Schultz was one of only 15 Democrats that voted in favor of that censorship legislation to end basically nonprofits. You know, we've got a lot of nonprofits down here in Florida, and Bell actually reached
Now
out to
that
me
shit is
today.
fascist.
Yes, big time, big time.
Like that is,
And
she is like, she is scarily fascistic and authoritarian, and it's so weird to me
and
that
she's only going to get
around
worse as she
here-
gets older.
Yeah, and
That's the
people
thing.
around here really like, well, but that qualifies as a Democrat here, which really goes to show you, like, what does a Democrat even mean?
Well, she's one of only two. Her and Moskowitz are the only two in the entire state of Florida that voted for it.
Lois Frankel, no?
No,
Interesting.
she didn't vote for it. But you know who else didn't vote for it? The two biggest Zionists in the most Zionist part of the United States. Josh Gottheimer did not vote for it, and neither did Richie Torres. And when that happens, you know,
I wonder
that
why.
bill is well, with Gottheimer's running for governor of New Jersey. So that's part of the Josh Gottheimer is going to run for president.
So,
I think.
okay,
That's-
this is why. So, and Torres he doesn't have a race. Why does he give a
No,
shit?
but the thought process in New Jersey, and because New Jersey, Kamala only won by 6 points, there is this thought, because remember, New Jersey voted for Chris Christie twice in recent memory. The GOP in New Jersey is not the GOP of Christie Todd Whitman, who was a very popular governor. But the Democrats who have taken the governorship in the state have generally been extremely corrupt, because the party machine in New Jersey is Democrat.
Because the only reason that somebody like Richie Torres wouldn't vote for that is because politically there was something why he couldn't, and he knew it was going to pass, and so he didn't need to. So
if Richie Torres,
yeah,
if he's already crossed the political Rubicon, if Jamal Bowman is going to run against him next year, it doesn't matter if he changes his voting course. He's already set enough in motion where he is not going to have a defense to protect him if there really is a real movement and a couple of $1 million behind Jamal Bowman. He won't have it. It's a totally different demographic, totally different type of district than the one that Latimer won in the Westchester County suburbs. Totally different.
Yeah.
You try to win that in New York City, it won't be the same.
I cannot stand Richie Torres.
And against two black men, it won't be the same. I could actually see a circumstance where Bowman would actually win again. But Richie Torres, even he votes no on the bill, but Debbie does. 15 Democrats out of 210. What do you expect?
Those are the biggest sellouts because they were the ones that were willing to put their name on that.
Yes, Ron. Bob Torselli is a good example. What? Stop.
Oh, he's in the comic. Look at the size of him. He's
can't
right
see.
there.
Oh.
He's right there.
Okay. Yeah. We got a big cockroach.
Oh, I'm going to friggin' lose it.
Yeah. What do you expect? It's Florida.
Oh,
we have critters everywhere.
so disgusting. That is not a roach. That is a fucking hang glider.
It's a hang glider.
That's what it looks like. That thing could be saddled. Where's the spray?
She's a big one, isn't she?
It's not good at all. I thought we had spray.
You poor thing.
I'm so displeased.
Got one more segment we got.
Okay.
If anybody has embodied the problems within the Democratic Party, we all know.
It's me.
Yeah, you really did expose them for the crooks that they are.
I did, didn't I? Uh-oh. Oh, God.
Nobody did a number on the Democrats quite like I did.
No.
And I had to go on TV the other day and prove it. How are you, Jen? It's good to be back. How's everybody doing? Getting ready for your gobble holiday? This is definitely one of my favorite days of the year because, of course, I like to eat, and I eat my feelings, especially on that day. And since I'm so thin and long in the tooth at this point, I pretty much can do whatever the hell I want. You know what I'm saying? So I went on TV the other day, and I had quite a few things to say about the state of the Democratic Party. And leave it to good old Jonathan Capehart to give me a nice cakewalk of an interview.
Did you see the picture of your wife with Kamala? Because that's who's really still in charge, isn't it, Bill?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I tried to stay as far away from them on election night as you can see. They didn't look too happy.
And your wife, by the way, is the 3 of Hearts.
Oh, isn't she?
Hillary Clinton, 3 of Hearts.
Well, what a terrible life I've chosen, isn't it? In my own personal hell. Okay. I can't say I'm that happy, but I think I appreciate that, Sable. I'll just pretend that you actually mean that in the reverse Uno card kind of way.
So let's see what I geniusly had to say. Right?
Okay, let's see this.
I think that in demonizing all establishments and all people who wear a tie like you and me to work and have a good education, we are breaking down the legitimacy of not only people who may be too sanctimonious and too set in their ways in the past, but also people who actually know things that are very important for us today and very important for our continued growth and prosperity and harmony. Politics.
As you can imagine, I am basically letting everybody know, and I've been saying this for how long now? Clintonism today, Clintonism yesterday, Clintonism tomorrow, Clintonism forever in the Democratic Party. We cannot ever change. If we did, then I would have to admit that my policies were a total and utter failure. And you really think I'm going to do that at this point in my life? Why do you think Pelosi's running again? Why do you think Hillary had total control of the entire electoral process?
Because she bought the party.
We bought the party. I mean, I was mostly along for the ride and going out there and giving my wonderful speeches and getting a lot of money delivered into the political coffers. And you remember when that Wasserman Schultz completely bankrupted the party?
Yes, I do. Didn't that work out well for you?
It worked out great because they let us come in with the foundation money. We bought up all the debt and we technically took things over.
That's nice.
We made sure
you've done such a good job at running things too.
Hey, listen, don't hate the player, hate the game. And I'm a hell of a player in more ways than one, and you know that. We write about that, Jen. No, just saying. As you can imagine, the Democratic Party is in a lot of trouble right now, and I could take responsibility for that happening, but I'm not going to.
No, clearly.
No, I'm just going to ride the wave as long as I can. Lord knows I don't really have as much time as I thought I did. Do you know how old I am now? I'm 78. I'm still kicking and slicking Willie all over the place, having a good time.
So gross.
Yeah, it's not that gross.
It's so gross.
It's a lot of fun.
What's this? That's the okay.
That's the thing.
The thing with the thing.
The thing. You know the thing.
The
just
thing.
like good old Joe. I got to ask you a question, Jen, because I've been dying to get an answer to this. But do you really think Joe and Jill, Jack and Jill, whatever they want to call themselves, the soon to be departed, you think they voted for Trump? I mean, I've been hearing that rumor.
I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. First of all, you're all friends. Why would you not?
Well, I have a confession to make.
I know you've been to the island.
I voted for Trump.
I'm sure you did.
This time I had to do it.
You did.
I had my reasons. I had them, and I was completely justified in my decision.
Heads you win, tails you lose.
Well, something along those lines. But let's just say that I'm getting a little frail. I couldn't afford to have any cases brought against me by those crazy Republicans. Definitely wouldn't have worked out too well. I mean, if I have to remind y'all exactly what it is that I did as president, me and Hillary, because she claimed that she was the president in many ways.
No one cares about that, apparently.
No, we definitely should care about it.
I care about it, but nobody else cares about it.
That's why I tell you about it, because it's so
we need to talk about you being on the island.
Well, the island was quite a fun time.
I'm sure it was for you.
Yeah, and remember, they showed ID, so I can always claim ignorance.
No, you can't, and you know that. No, because it's statutory rape. There's no defense.
Listen, you and I both know the law.
Yes.
I was told what I was told. I didn't own that island. It ain't my responsibility, and the guy who owned it is not with us anymore. And we'll just say.
And it's an uncharted island, and I'm sure that the laws of whatever nation would make it be perfectly okay to be screwing around with minors.
Oh, well, but do you really think that's the only island I've ever been to? I mean, I've had way too much fun, and I'm just going to keep doing it until I eventually kick the bucket.
I'm sure you will.
So I'm just going to keep going as long as I can. But I will assure you that if anyone needs to know exactly why the country has been set in motion in such a negative way over the past generation, NAFTA, normal trade relations with China, the crime bill, Telecom Act, repeal Glass-Steagall. That's your Fab Five right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what I did and put into law with Hillary's assistance, of course, and Newt Gingrich and a few other wonderful
not so good people on the Hill. But that is our legacy. That is what we did to the country. And then, of course,
Great.
W came in and made it even worse. No child left behind. No
Yeah.
child that can't be killed. That's for sure. But we did what we had to do. And now that the Democratic Party is in complete shambles and doesn't seem like it has much of a future, I wish I could tell you that I feel some degree of sympathy and maybe I'm partially responsible, but I get to go home at night and sleep in $100 million worth of money. Blood money as it may be.
Yeah, with her.
Oh, no, trust me, we're in separate bedrooms at this point. She snores very loudly and she passes wind all the time. I just can't deal with it anymore, Jen. Can't you save me?
No. Oh, no.
Can't you put me in
That is a bed you made and should lie in.
That's my own personal hell, and I really don't want to deal with it anymore. What have I done? What I did?
It's for who have you done?
I changed the country.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really did.
That's just great.
The only thing you all can be thankful for is that Chelsea has no political acumen whatsoever. That's the one thing you can be thankful for. Now, do I have a little bit of Clintons running around out there that we don't know about? I mean, remember, Monica did freeze my sperm. Anything could happen at any given day. You never know. I know I'm just here to entertain y'all, but the fact is, I am totally with her, as this wonderful guy in the audience likes to say. So thanks for stopping by. And remember, you ain't fixing shit in the Democratic Party. You might as well move along. Bye.
So, guys, this was not a typical show. Normally, we actually do like more substantive interview stuff, like, but if you are here for the first time, please hit the like button, hit subscribe. And we also have a Patreon. Do you want to do the spiel? You normally do the whole spiel.
Well,
I never do the Patreon spiel.
For as little as $5 a month, you could become a supporter of our small but mighty
It's very
channel.
helpful to us.
It is.
And we appreciate it for sure.
We are going to have a much more substantive conversation on Wednesday evening. No show on Thanksgiving, but on Wednesday
I have a lot of cooking.
Oh, lucky you.
I like Thanksgiving is the only time I like Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving
cooking.
too.
It's the only time I really like to cook now is Thanksgiving.
No, I have my triumvirate. Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and 4th of July. Those are my 3 favorite holidays.
Yeah. You've never hosted or cooked for them.
I can cook.
That's not what I said. I didn't say you couldn't cook. I said you've never cooked or hosted for those holidays. You're always the guy who shows up and maybe you bring something. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're with someone who brings something. But in any event, it's no skin off your back. You don't have to clean. You go home, you go to bed, and there's no problem. No fuss, no muss. That's your version of a holiday.
You almost sound like you're dreading having to cook for everybody.
No, I like having to cook. I used to host when I lived in my last house. I would have like 24 people, 26 people. Every year it was massive at my house because I hosted for everybody. Now that I don't have the space, I don't do that, but I still like the food. I make really good pumpkin food. I just do. Like I make really good pumpkin bread. I'm doing a pumpkin smoked Gouda soup.
That I wish I could have.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Actually, if I'm back on Saturday,
I'm doing a homemade cornbread this time for the stuffing, whereas normally I do a sourdough stuffing. This year I'm doing a cornbread stuffing, and I take my stuffing seriously. I make the bread, I break the bread, I dry the bread. Like it's a process.
Yes, Henry, we're going to go live on Wednesday. We will not be live on Thanksgiving. I don't think it's
gobble gobble.
We'll do, like holiday shows, but not Thanksgiving. It's not appropriate. People should be, and you know what?
I don't want to do it on Thanksgiving because my boy's coming home.
No, but the sad truth is, and one of the hard realities about Thanksgiving, and we can talk about this, is just how, a lot of people don't have family that they can go to or family that they feel comfortable with going to. It's not easy for a lot of us. And so the holiday should be spent as best you can with people who actually care and value who you are.
And
that's what Thanksgiving's supposed to be.
If given an option, the place with the better food.
There's that as well. Yes.
Like my house has really good food. I'm just saying. Not everybody's house has really good food. Some people have like canned cranberry,
What I say to that is simply this. We make Thanksgiving our own. We don't have to honor it the way that it was.
No, and we've talked about this many times on this show, like why I like Thanksgiving has nothing to do with the historic issues of Thanksgiving. At this point, for me, it's really about my childhood memories.
We all have to pitch in, Chris. That's important.
So for me, Thanksgiving is just about it's about my childhood memories. the smell of the kitchen, the Macy's parade, which when I was a kid
Big deal.
had infinitely less commercials, and it wasn't just constant Broadway show after Broadway show. It actually was more of a
Oh,
parade.
you mean it was actually a parade and not just based
More
on money?
so. I mean, no, I mean, there were still sponsors, but it wasn't like now, like now it's just out of control. So like my like for Thanksgiving, and I don't even eat meat. So I used to eat Thanksgiving, like turkey. I used to eat that. I'll taste it because Jason will smoke it and it'll be really good. But I don't, yeah. But I like Thanksgiving. And I know that it's got very mixed vibes, but that has to do with how we teach that holiday here. Like, as far as I'm concerned, we could call it Family Dinner Day or Autumn Dinner Day or Fall Festival Day or whatever. Yes, I feel like that too. I feel like that too. So that's my thought on Thanksgiving. Like, if feel free to change the name, as long as I get to cook with pumpkin and potatoes and all that stuff. Like, it's just Fall Festival. Happy Fall Festival.
Happy Fall Festivus.
Well, no, we're no longer having a Festivus, and we're going to have to come up with something else.
Something for the holidays.
Well, I'm hoping to be up on the land for solstice.
We'll do a winter solstice show.
I could do a solstice show, and I could do it. I don't know. I have to figure. I don't know what. I mean, I think her connection's probably okay up there because she's in the middle of nowhere. Like, that land is literally. I mean, you're so far from anything on that property.
All right, give
that
it up
property.
for John Nada. That's a good one, John. Bing's taken.
Yes,
That's good.
it's true.
Give credit where it's due. That's
I
good
know.
play on words. I
But
like
you know
that.
what? Since I celebrate solstice for winter, thanks for what? I celebrate solstice. So I guess what I should do, technically, if I was being like seasonally minded, I would say I'm celebrating the fall equinox.
Or smoke weed responsibly.
But I don't know what that means. What does smoking weed responsibly look like? How do you smoke weed responsibly?
Only take a few hits and not 50.
That
I
doesn't.
don't
No, there's a point of diminishing marginal returns for most people. It's like, there's
Josie,
no point.
if there was one thing that I would bet my life on, Hillary Clinton did not vote for Donald Trump.
No. And
That didn't happen.
I think, and the other thing is she was with Kamala. Like, Kamala is her race car driver for her team.
That's the thing. If anybody is going to become the first Madam President, she wants the credit as the puppet master that made it possible.
Well, and she would also have a big say so in things.
100%.
Picking the cabinet, really,
She was looking forward.
She'd be like the Karl Rove there.
She was looking
Wouldn't it be
forward
good?
to that first inaugural address in which she is credited by Kamala for making this all possible. That was probably a condition.
There's a lot of it. I'm sure there was a lot of conditions, but there's conditions with everything. Look at how Trump's filling his cabinet. They're all pay to play.
100%.
Something I was pleasantly surprised to hear, though, the woman he appointed for labor secretary.
Yes, is a good person, apparently.
I don't know if she's a good person, but she was a supporter of the PRO Act.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of people have been saying, just like Trump axed the Trans-Pacific Partnership, it'll be just like in his first 100 days to get the PRO Act through.
And you know what?
Good.
Let
them do it.
Honestly,
we're stuck with the GOP in power for a while anyway, so we might as well get something good out of it.
Well, and the thing is, we can celebrate wins where we get wins, whatever the reason is. They don't have to have the same reason. Like, if Trump ends the nonsense with Ukraine, that's good. Now, if in his mind he's doing it to free up resources for China, that's not so cool if he's thinking that. But I don't really care what his reasoning is. I still want him to stop the war in Ukraine.
Well, can we address that before we go then?
We can address that.
Okay. So for those of you who have been following the story that just landed today.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know,
I feel like we've talked a lot about, can I preface this with, I don't like us to spend time talking so much about other content creators.
Well, we're not talking about other content creators. We're only referencing Joe Rogan. We're not talking about him.
Okay.
So everyone who has been paying attention, Joe Rogan is very adamantly anti-war, and he wants the massacre in Gaza to end.
Yeah.
He wants the war in Ukraine
He's
to
a
end.
very anti-war libertarian.
Listen, I covered the last week about Bernie and how it was a transition from Rogan supporting Bernie and how AOC screwed him over and eventually a transition all the way.
I think I'm going to say something that's somewhat controversial. I'm going to say something somewhat controversial. I've never really made a statement about this. Okay.
I'm listening.
Oh my God, that's so gross. That's not my statement. So gross. That's not my statement, but that is gross. Okay. I like Joe Rogan.
I like him too.
I don't watch, I don't listen to him. Like, but the times I have,
I'll be listening to him when I'm driving up to the
I
van.
don't, right. I don't listen to him, but when I have listened to him or watched him, I like him. He seems like somebody that would be cool to hang out with. He seems like somebody who wants to learn different things about different people and is interested in expanding his mind and interested in hearing different things. How anybody would have a problem with that is so fucked in the head. Like, what has he ever done that why, other than they can't stand that he has the size platform that he has? Oh, I'm freaking out about that thing.
We're always going to survive. This is not, there are issues here in Florida. There's no question about it. Are you sending in the cavalry?
I'm getting help.
I don't want to smash his books. I don't, that's Jason's responsibility if he wants to do that.
That's why I'm calling in the cavalry.
That's it. And there are people that we will meet in our lives that will not agree on certain things. But I will tell you, if there is one thing that I think will come of Rogan's, remember, Rogan has real power. And now he's decided to use it because the liberal class has pushed him so fucking hard for so fucking long. And he just said, all right.
So I haven't seen this, though.
You want me to muscle up? Okay. Well, he has been very loud lately about the war in Ukraine ending. And you know what? It looks like it might. And part of the reason they're going through their death spiral is because there is no sign that Trump is angling to start another war to transition the resources away from Ukraine, as Biden did when he ended the war in Afghanistan and then just shifted all the resources over to Ukraine.
I feel like Biden is just trying to set him up so bad. Like, this is so ridiculous.
So then they're just icky.
Let me tell you something. Icky. All right. I've grown up here. I've lived here. I grew up here as a kid here. I know exactly what they are, where they're. I don't care. They're so fucking disgusting.
They are.
And if you people saw the size of what I'm dealing with here,
he's big.
Like, this is
he's
not
a big
normal.
Boy. He's been eating his Thanksgiving turkey and stuffing and gravy. Definitely been having quite a bit. So for those of you who don't know who Vladimir Klitschko is, he is considered one of the great boxing champions in our history. And he is, correct me if I'm wrong, the mayor of Kiev in Ukraine. This is where he's from. Kiev, which is where he's from.
Mm-hmm.
He had this statement to make towards Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan, I listened to your latest podcast. I'm sending you this video to let you know that I disagree. You talk about these American weapons being sent to Ukraine, which you believe will lead to the Third World War. So let me tell you that you're repeating Russian propaganda.
Okay, making that statement right off the bat is total bullshit because we are sending weapons to Ukraine that should not be sent. We have gotten to the point now where this has just gotten completely out of hand.
Putin's Russia is in trouble, so they want to scare you and people like you. His war was supposed to last 3 days. It has lasted 3 years, thanks to the heroism and sacrifice of us Ukrainians.
The Ukrainians have lost, at least that we know of, 500,000 people. Probably a lot more that we're not aware of. Mr. Klitschko wants this war to continue, just like a lot of others want it to continue. Now, I certainly understand where he's coming from because it's his homeland. But make no mistake, there is no way to win this war. This is as bad of a situation. I don't think you got him.
Oh, I got him. Thank God your shit's in plastic.
No.
Oh.
Jen's having a situation. But yes, Mr. Klitschko thinks that this should be continuing, and it shouldn't.
So you're using the only weapon that Putin really intends to use, propaganda. And this weapon really weakens our democracies. Putin's Russia wants to destroy Ukraine quietly. They want America to stay quiet, not great, but quiet. A great America is not an America that abandons countries that defend freedom with their lives. In short, you see, I have quite a few points of difference. If you invite me on your podcast, we could discuss them like free men.
So is he like I'm sorry, I was dealing with a serious situation. No. First of all, I'm wearing my Birkenstocks. There's no way in hell I would step on that thing. It possibly could crack my shoe. I sprayed it. I opt for poison.
It's going through its death throes.
It's going through its death throes. It'll take a minute, but just don't let it scamper anywhere nearer me. I will lose my shit. So gross. Anyway, no, I opt for poisoning.
No, the thing about Mr. Klitschko is that he is caught in basically having to defend the Western propaganda about continuing this war. Remember, everyone has a short-term memory. We have said time and again, we do not defend Putin's invasion of Ukraine, but if you don't understand the invasion of Ukraine, then you're a fucking dupe. This has been going on.
It was brought on by us. It was brought on by us.
NATO expansion for many, many years.
And our complete unwillingness to have a relationship with Russia. And just our complete unwillingness to not view them as an enemy. But we have to, because we need to keep the military-industrial complex churning, and we have to have an enemy. We actually had to make up this entire. Why are they an adversary? Why do we have adversaries?
It's not only that. It's not only that, Richard. But what you have to remember is that it'd be one thing if he makes this statement, and I have sympathy for Klitschko. It's every spook in the DC establishment that boosted his message on social media and are going after Joe Rogan relentlessly. Because they know they're losing.
Well, and that's also one of those things where they have a mutually beneficial relationship. That's like they're helping each other. They're against Rogan for so many reasons, not the least of which is he gets more followers than they do. But so this is an opportunity for them to get him and use their propaganda message at the same time. It's a twofer.
Yeah. No, you're right. Why would you want to continue something that you know cannot be won? Your war
and
is
the
against
people don't
NATO.
want to be going into the military.
This could have been completely avoided. Completely avoided. If it wasn't for the decision of the Western powers controlling the military-industrial complex that ultimately decided we have to have endless war. That it is absolutely necessary. You're distracting me.
I hear it. Where is it?
I don't know.
I hear it flapping.
It's dying somewhere in the corner. Poor Jen. It's a land grab and a money laundering gig. When you hear the stories about BlackRock in particular and what's going on in the country, already looking at a set up shop after it's all said and done, that's what it's about. It's about the military contracts.
The fact that you can hear a roach scooting across the floor on the other side of the room is a sign of how fucking big it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like I can hear its footsteps at the other side of the room.
This is going to be an interesting clip when this goes, because everyone's going to know that you're like a roach killer, but also a roach pussy.
Well, that's why poison is my method, is my kill method. I'm not getting too close.
Is it a bug?
Yes, it is.
Well,
but
I think it's a roach.
Huge.
Yeah.
Okay. The term palmetto bug sounds so more appealing than roach with wings.
But that's what it is, a roach.
It's just a flying roach. But it is, but it's so big. Like, I don't think people really, if you're not from Florida, you don't understand.
Oh, there is no question that Rogan has a big fucking target on his back now. Now he's got a target on his back.
And see, to me, that makes him infinitely more appealing, and it's only going to increase his popularity.
Oh, 100%. They're going to really,
because it makes him more appealing to me, and I'm not even that interested in the first place. So that means it's, what are you staring at? Do you see it?
No, just all the poison that you just sprayed.
I know. A little bad that I sprayed all the books with poison.
You're just a pussy.
I don't care. And by the way, all the books are wrapped in plastic.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, at least you know that that bug is writhing in pain right now before.
No, that doesn't make me feel better. I don't want things to suffer. I just don't want it here. Oh, it's
a roach. Yeah, it's like 3 inches big. It's big. It's a big roach.
When Reese was little, I used to take him to this program at the San Antonio Zoo that they would have for kids on the weekends, where you could go in and you would do a craft, and they'd give you a snack, and then they would introduce an animal to you, and they'd bring it into the little learning room. And one time I went and I took him, and the animal that they were letting all of us hold was a Madagascar cockroach, which is, it's like the size of your whole palm, and it's a roach. Okay. So I'm here with my 2-year-old, and I'm really wanting him to not be scared and have irrational fear and whatever. And so I kid you not, I completely womaned up and did it. And it was like, I cannot tell you that that was one of the hardest things that I've ever done, was like touch that and act totally normal and fine with it. And yeah,
I can remember when I was young, we were somewhere in Florida. I don't remember exactly. May have been Orlando, but I remember we were at one of those stations where the guys paint that, like, they get to your face and make it go in a funny direction. They made me into a basketball player.
That's cool.
Scottie Pippen. That's who I was sort of emulating. I saw this huge, may have been a palmetto bug. It was big. And my sister was young at the time. So I think she may have been like 4, something like that.
You were in Florida.
Yes. And she was in it was like a push carriage or whatever. And I saw the bug, and I attempted to like go near it, and then it starts to scatter. My sister had she had a heart attack. She could, oh my God! And then eventually I jumped on top of it.
That's so gross. Ugh, I can't with them. They're so gross.
Smash.
Please, I get disgusted by the iguanas. The iguanas are everywhere, and they're so big. People don't realize, like, Florida is like Jurassic Park.
Well, if they tell you that you really should not develop in areas that are not meant to be developed, then maybe you shouldn't do that.
In all fairness, the iguanas are not indigenous.
They really pick quite a part of the country to just completely overdevelop, like as bad as any place in the entire nation. They pick a place that has been documented time and again as a place that eventually you're not going to be able to live here.
I know. Well, not for the iguanas, man. The iguanas are
they'll
thriving.
just take it over. They're just going to take it over.
The iguanas, like, I think people that aren't from here don't really understand how you could just be driving. Like, seriously, I live in a suburban place. It's not rural by any stretch. And I could be driving down any of my roads and just see an iguana, and not just any iguana, but like multiple iguanas and big iguanas. And I'm talking the big iguanas. And they're just there. They're just there. A lot of them are unfortunately roadkill.
Meatwad, you're referring to stink bugs, and I have dealt with them. And yes,
yeah, I don't think that's true about palmetto bugs, because I've been around.
Yeah,
look, I won't step on one because the thought of it that would gross me out for eternity. I can't. I don't even like the sound of people cracking knuckles, so that's not my vibe. I don't like that.
Is that true?
Well, no, I don't think that's true, because then they'd be showing up a lot more dead. The climate is very suitable for the iguana. We don't get freezes anymore. The only climate that wouldn't be suitable would be like a deep freeze. And even the couple times we've had a good freeze,
I remember that,
where people have thought, okay, that might kill off some of the iguanas. It hasn't, so they've adapted. But the point is, they are thriving here. This is suitable. But the reason that they're here is from people having them as pets and releasing them over the course of many, many years. Like, that is how they started here. They were never here.
Why would you want them as a pet?
A lot of people have iguanas. I don't know why people have any, to me, and I have a very, very basic theory. Well, they do actually, you can hunt them, and they do eat them, and they eat them in places like El Salvador. And I also have understanding that they eat them in Asia, because you can get a license and you can sell them for meat. So I mean, like, you can, So I know that's.
People eat a lot of things for food that I would never recommend. But that said, we really appreciate you guys being here. I have to be on an airplane in less than, just over 7 hours.
Wow.
And I got to get up early. But I also want to avoid the holiday rush. That's part of the reason why you do it. If you don't want to go to the airport and get stuck having to go through.
No, you do it because you get a better fare.
Well, that's part of it too. I travel smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I'm not going to ask you to drive me to the airport.
You travel cheap, and I'm not driving you to the airport.
I didn't think you would.
Hell no.
I'll have to get an Uber. I guess I just don't have a choice. Smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things we ask you to do. We'll see you Wednesday.